This video was made possible by the EA Creator Network and was captured on a work-in-progress build. What's going on, everybody? My name is C4. Welcome back to the channel, and today I want to highlight to you one of my biggest quality of life improvements from College Football 25 to College Football 26, and that is the Wild Wild West known as the transfer portal. As you can see from a very quick snapshot, I'm going to show you a couple different stages of the transfer portal. Here is me using one of the teams that benefits from the transfer portal, maybe as much as any program in college football, in the Miami Hurricanes. And this is year one. These are the type of players that are going to hit the transfer portal year one. You're going to recognize a lot of these names. And as you can tell, there is a lot of talent here. There are multiple five-star players. Colin Simmons, Dylan Stewart. You got Leonard Moore, who might be the best DB in the nation, not named Caleb Downs. And a lot of four-stars. All have interest in our Miami Hurricanes program. But this wasn't always the case. The transfer portal in College Football 25, I get it was year one. I get we're trying to figure out how this whole process is going to work in video game format. But just seeing this at face value, if you played enough College Football 25, it's going to put a smile on your face. Because let's do a little bit of a throwback here. I'm going to show you what the transfer portal looked like as a good team in College Football 25. Let's take a little journey down memory lane. We are here in College Football 25. I am in my Kent State Golden Flashes rebuild. We went 15-1. We won the national championship. And far too often, this is what we got as our transfer portal experience in college football. By the time your school was good, a competitive, one of the better schools in the nation, you'd go look at the transfer portal, be like, oh man, maybe I'm going to, you have a surprise player or two that wants to hit the portal. You have a surprise player or two that you can't convince to not declare for the NFL draft. Oh, don't worry. I just won the national championship. Surely I'm going to get some of the top tier players. If there's no 5 stars, surely I could get at least a pick of maybe a dozen, half a dozen 4-star guys that can come in on 1-year rentals as juniors, about to be seniors, that can fix my roster. And lo and behold, you hit the transfer portal, and the only players interested in joining your program are 2-star players that have no chance of adding any impact whatsoever. It was very disappointing. This was one of the most frustrating aspects of College Football 25 for me. Rarely there were 5-star recruits last year, and they've already broken down in the College Football 26 deep dive blog about like the explanation and reasoning and the changes that you were going to see in the transfer portal in College Football 26. They've kind of retooled how the star ratings affected it, and it kind of goes a little bit more into the class and how many years you're going to get out of a player versus, say, the juniors that are about to be seniors and are only going to get a 1-year rental. That's why you're seeing the value here in a Dylan Stewart who is transferring as a sophomore, Leonard Moore who is transferring as a sophomore. Nope, he does not leave Florida ever. But you got Arch Manning, Seton potentially going. And like just the excitement from name value alone that these players could be attainable year one in the transfer portal. Excitement level through the charts that unfortunately it did feel like time and time again the transfer portal and how it worked in College Football 25 just didn't necessarily capture that same level of excitement that the transfer portal has in real life, as long as you're a team that's not on the losing end of good players hitting the portal. But in College Football 26, you're going to recognize right away just the sheer amount of 4-star talent. Like, this is just quarterbacks. Pick of the litter. Fill your boots. You're going to find somebody. Running backs. Through every position, there is just so much depth, regardless of the team that you are rebuilding. The same can be said for 3 stars. Like, the fact that we didn't necessarily get an exact number of how many, on average, players were hitting the transfer portal in College Football 25, but they made the announcement, whatever, how many number it was. The blog says around 2,000, a consistent pool of around 2,000 players entering the transfer portal. So you're not going to get that experience that you would see in College Football 25. Regardless of where you're at in the college football food chain, you are going to have dinner options at that all-you-can-eat buffet known as the transfer. Now, you might not be able to go on the high end. You might not be able to be going out there eating the prime rib, But every now and again, chewy steak is all you need. You're fighting for scraps. You'll take that chewy gray steak, and you'll be happy with it. Because when you're starving, anything that fills that belly is going to feel good. So be it 5 stars, be it you're flirting with the 4 stars, or maybe you're looking at the 3s and you're trying to find the Gem 2s, the transfer portal revamp in College Football 26 absolutely hit a home run in the changes that needed to be done. Now, before I go look at and see where the transfer world is a lot longer and deeper into Dynasty Mode to see if it holds weight, let's just see difficulty-wise. Now, I'm Miami, so I'm pretty well positioned over 1,300 hours. Let's just see how easy it is. I want to go after, can I get all three of these 5 stars? Colin Simmons, Dylan Stewart, and Leonard Moore. I feel like, from a difficulty standpoint, it's a lot more difficult, in my experience, and we're going to see and test it out right here, to land these type of players. Whereas in College Football 25, for the most part, if the deal breakers were not an issue and you kind of went with a smaller board, you went for quality over quantity, with my 1,350 hours, I should be able, if I only wanted Simmons, Stewart, and Moore, to be able to get them. The fact that we have starting interest, let's just see. Let's just slide me over the wave so we can see everything. Colin Simmons is insane. Look at the abilities. Quick jump, duress. We got takedown. We have Dylan Stewart, who might just be one of the most overpowered players that we've seen as far as pass rushers are concerned in the world of college football in the 2 years. Look at that. 6'5", 245, 96 acceleration, 88 power, 96 finesse, 91 speed, 99 pursuit. Absolutely disgusting. And then we got Leonard Moore, who has just great ability. Wow. I mean, we don't have the best, just whatever, Miami's coaches here, so we're not unable to unveil the mentals and dev traits. Now, cheap plug to my other videos I've been dropping, I have a recruiter coach build and a player XP coach build. And with that recruiter coach build, if we were using that in this video, we would be seeing all the mentals. We'd be seeing the dev trait, or at least have a chance at rolling that dev trait. But anyways, regardless, these guys all from an attribute standpoint and ability standpoint are passing the smell test as 5 stars. Let's see if we can be aggressive enough to get all 3. So we're going to go and hit them all with a scholarship offer and then immediately just send the house. Now, this is obviously situationally a very unique situation, as we have no one else on our board that we have to worry about, and we're just solely focusing on these 3. And what's the likelihood in your own dynasties? You're just going to be able to focus on 3. But I'll be honest, if I was doing a dynasty and these 3 players had me within their top 10 schools, now we're on the low end of those top 10, 7th and 8th, I would honestly probably approach these guys, especially all 3 of them being sophomores. There's a chance you could convince them to stay for 2 years. Good luck, but there is a chance. The value is immense if we can land all 3 of these guys. Okay, after week 1, saw a little bit of movement. We're now 2nd for Leonard Moore, 3rd for Dylan Stewart, and 3rd for Colin Simmons. So we're in that top 5. And I'm definitely looking at Colin Simmons saying, if we're going down to the wire against Duke and Tulane, advantage the good guys. The good news, in a way, is we do, and I think we want to try to be aggressive early and schedule a couple early visits here. We have A for conference prestige. We don't have enough necessarily to go off and hit them with a hard sell yet, or a sway in case it doesn't work out, which you're definitely going to want to utilize sway a lot more this year. They made a point to make it a little bit more visible what sway does and what you're actually gaining and or net losing. But I think, obviously, I'd love it to be an A+, but A is good enough for me to bring them in on visits early. Unfortunately, we can't do that with Leonard Moore, so hopefully that doesn't hurt us too much going another week without any real movement here. Let's have a little bit of fun here. We're going to be able to sway. Looking at Leonard Moore, his ideal pitch is going to be the clutch. He likes stability, he likes playing style, and playing time. We do not want anything to do with that D grade in coach stability. So let's see if we can get a little sway action, because we absolutely check the box for playing style and playing time. Honestly, this is like the perfect example, and it might not work at the end of the day, but the perfect example of how sway can work in this game. Because it tells me that if I have at least 2 check marks, the success rate is get a hit as part of the proposed pitch. So this is the meta. This is what Leonard Moore is looking for. We don't want to have coachability, but if we go down here just a little bit to clocked in, it is going to hit playing style and playing time, which are his 2 big fits, and then we're going to be able to throw in an A- of pro potential. Now, it's not a perfect flip. It's not like I'm being able to flip this to 3 A+, but this is going to give us a much bigger advantage, and is the perfect opportunity to use sway. To max out our 50, you might as well soft sell him here, kind of bite the bullet on the D grade and trust that the A in playing style, A+ in playing time is going to be enough to offset, so we can at least have him locked in for a full 50 hours. Now, for all intents and purposes. This is being done with just like the vanilla Miami coach. I don't have any design boost to the transfer portal, to interest in recruiting. I'm just more so doing it from a program and school grade standpoint. We're getting cooked. We have a chance here for Leonard Moore. Obviously, we're also swinging for the fences with these fives, and you're going to want to have all of the coach upgrades humanly possible that will affect the transfer portal if you're truly going for the S of the S tier players like we are trying to right now. But you know what? It's not hurting my ego here. This is showing you how difficult it is, because in College Football 25, I really do think you could just hours these guys to death to join your program. Whereas we're seeing right now, we're being very humbled. I think we still might have a chance on more. But, I mean, it's not, I imagine once he goes to that week 4 visit at K-State, it's a lock. Now, we'll be honest. Stewart and Moore going, here's what it is. Losing to freaking, we couldn't even close the ground on too late. It's humbling, very humbling. And definitely want to showcase how difficult it is, but it would have been nice to at least get one of these freaking guys. But at least we got to show a perfect situation when Sway and the new and improved Sway made a whole lot of sense here with Leonard Moore. Able to flip it. It was just a little too late there, unfortunately. Dang. Now let's just try this. We are, with our build that we used in our video, breaking down the ideal recruiter build. I have Chill Belichick here at the University of North Carolina. We are 25 years in to a maximum of 30 years in Dynasty. So we're now at the transfer portal, 25 years into a Dynasty. It just to more so answer the question, and I don't know if you guys experienced this, but I did. I felt like the transfer portal, regardless of if it was exciting and fun or not, was always populated with, maybe realistic vibes for the first couple of years of their dynasty. And then as you went on, that's when you started to run into like, oh man, there's only 2 stars. So tracking with what we experienced in College Football 25, if it was the same here in 26, what I'm about to look at with a North Carolina team that's won 15 national titles, 20 undefeated seasons, we would have a very meh looking options available to us in the transfer portal. It'll be a bunch of 2 stars, couple 3 stars. Is that the case? It is not. We got a bunch of 4 stars, a lot of interest in joining the program, and I'm actually going to try to make myself feel a little bit better after botching landing the superstar talent for the U. Let's see if we can actually get a respectable transfer portal period with Chill Belichick and the Tar Heels. All right, so we're going to go with a modest amount of players. Could go a little bit heavy. Let's get something maybe a little more approachable. We got Hugh Yazzie here. That's a great name. But we got mostly 4 stars, all that kind of position need. Couple have us as their #1 school, so I hope these are kind of layups. Ooh, that's a good first roll. And again, wasn't necessarily expecting to land all those players with vanilla Miami Hurricanes coach. But now that I'm using my recruiter build, max endgame super cheese recruiter coach, this is kind of what I'm expecting. And at least we're getting from the first wave the return on investment by trusting the recruiting coach build. Second stage, we're going to start working on bringing some guys in for visits, hitting them with hard sells. I'm going to, and I don't know the order of these videos, getting a little time in the early access. I'm going to try and have a recruiting guy, but like, here's an early tip. It's like, well, we have Yazzie, and when you get proximity to home, you might be like, I only have 1 green. How do I know what is hard sell approach? The best one is going to be, it's like, well, pretty self-explanatory, that Star Search has the proximity from home, and you still have the question mark for playing time and brain exposure. That is going to be his ideal approach, because it's the only one that lines up, so you can get ahead of that and save yourself a week, because you definitely want a deep threat known Hugh Yaz to throw the football to. The memes write itself. Oh, yes. Here we go, baby. Starting to get some talent in. 4 stars are rolling in. All of them. Another one. So as we clear our board here, just can't stress enough, if you follow my other video where I break down the top recruiting coach build, it's so worth it, because the complete overhaul from 25 to 26 in the transfer portal, you can't short sell your program by not prioritizing how active and aggressive and successful you can be in the transfer portal. Guys, move the webcam all over the place. So again, that is in strategist, getting that tier 2 hospitality, which helps when you inevitably try to bring in all of your transfer portal targets in on a visit. You are going to have bigger impact there. As well as tier 3 in base recruiter, which is going to have all these players in the transfer portal having more interest in your base team. Now that's kind of the good side of the transfer portal. We're showing the fun side of, oh baby, look at who's available. There is also a significant downside and very punishing downside to the transfer portal in college football 26. Let's fire up a Georgia Dynasty real quick. So as you can see here, I just started with a brand new coach at Georgia, so we had none of Kirby Smart's coach abilities that can help with player retention. We went through a very disappointing 9-4 season, 4-4 in SEC play, and you just weren't seeing this. The playing style, playing time deal breaker, which probably should have been in last year's game. I think this is probably the easiest way that they corrected it ahead of 26 because you're just losing so much talent. And this is honestly not that bad of a role. I've seen just other roles when I'm going through Dynasty Mode. I'm just like, we just saw call in the very beginning, like Dylan Stewart, generation, one of the best players in the game. He's hitting the portal, right? Colin Simmons hitting the portal. Leonard Moore hitting the portal. Arch Manning hitting the portal. It is very unforgiving if you are, for whatever reason, a sicko that's not doing a dynasty with a cupcake team and trying to make them the next big dynasty. You somehow want to rebuild a powerhouse. Feel like now you're getting properly punished if you're trying to rebuild a powerhouse. Now, where this is really good in terms of controlling a team that might be on the harsh end of this is, I don't know about you guys, but when I was doing my dynasties in college football 25, I would just hoard offensive linemen. I would have like 3 to 4 linemen at left guard, right guard, center, both tackles that were all in the 80s, all freshmen, sophomore, juniors, red shirts, whatever. And I love doing that. I loved having that depth on the offensive line. But the reality is, if that was real life, those guys absolutely would be dishing the team in the offseason for the portal. And it just never happened in 25. That's going to happen a lot in 26. But there is a safeguard if you're not the biggest fan of this, especially once you get multiple years into your dynasty and you just fall in love with some of these recruits. You don't want to see them go. Now in your dynasty settings, you can adjust the max transfers that happen to your team. You can have it for absolute free-for-all, max of 30. Good luck. Don't dare the game. Don't test the game, because I bet you'll hit you with 30 as soon as you raise this limit up. Or if you get sick and tired of the transfer portal for a year and it's just depleting your roster, you can almost be like, you know what, let's take a breather here for a second. Sit the transfer portal out for a season and knock it all the way down to 0. You also have sliders that can adjust the user player transfer chance. So I suppose, again, balance is key. Once we get a real good true set of sliders, we're probably going to find maybe the sweet spot. I'm going to assume default 55 is going to be pretty much where you want to keep it. But again, if you think it's being a little overpowered and the game's being a little unforgiving, ain't no problem maybe knocking this down to 35 or knocking it down to 25 for a little bit until you can keep your roster stability and maybe do that as opposed to just making the max transfers down to 0 and eliminating the transfer portal. And I think there's also an argument to be made, like, you have the option for the computer teams for how much their players get to transfer. And I think this could be a key situation if, maybe you do a little bit of pocket checking around your conference. And you go, well, okay, I'm Florida. And Auburn over there, it's just, how come they got 795 wide receivers and they're not losing them? So if that's the case, you go, okay, these CPU teams have been getting a free pass. I'm getting absolutely smashed in the portal. And the CPU teams in my division are still staying overpowered with unrealistic depth. Or maybe you really want to get Nick Harbor in your dynasty. The 6'5", 230-pound, 9'9" speed wide receiver. You go, okay, I'm going to go ahead and just have absolute chaos. This probably can make for some fun videos as well. Absolute chaos transfer portal, 100%. I think we need to do something in this video. Let's see what 100% chaos transfer portal looks like. I'm just going to pick Texas because just base default, they lost Colin Simmons and Arch Manning. I'm going to go with Sark. So if he has any of the buffs that try to help players not enter the transfer portal, I want to see how those combat going 100-100 on the transfer portal sliders. All right, so we're going to go max. We're going to go max 30 players. We're going to go max 100% chance for my teams, max 100% chance for the CPU teams. We saw from that very first Miami, that was default. Nice amount of 5 stars. Real nice amount of 4 stars. Okay. Max sliders. Still seeing, familiar faces. Dylan Stewart, Colin Simmons, Keldrick Falk. But definitely think it maybe had something to do with both Ryan Williams and Jeremiah Smith hitting the transfer portal. And even with the 4 stars, man, a lot of big name 4 stars are getting thrown into the mix there. You can't forget Fluff Bothwell. Don't anybody forget Fluff Bothwell. But we also have like Koi Parrott, who's one of the most overpowered players in the game, probably the closest thing to Travis Hunter. KJ Bolden, former 5-star. Isaac Brown, who's one of the best running backs. So, I mean, I don't necessarily know you can take much from having those sliders at max, trying to get it to ensure cast. Does seem like the game tries its best to like remain balanced with how many 5-stars. It's not like by me jacking those sliders up to 100, we're really seeing, you know, 15, 25-star players. And again, the 5-star rating is also tied in to the class and how much years they still have left versus just strictly being a ratings-based thing. Like, there's a chance, maybe not in this case because these guys are all blue-chip talent, but I would actually say there's probably scenarios where 4-stars could have a higher overall rating than some 5-stars, but the 5-stars are 5-stars because they're not going to be like one-and-done junior to senior type transfers. But the transfer portal, all in all, fellas, it was one of my top needs, top things that need to be fixed. Because literally in just all these different examples I showed you, right? Go right back to where I showed my college football 25 with Kent State, where there's just 2 stars. Day and night. It's like a different game. The enjoyment, the excitement, the improvement to your dynasty, big or small, and the changes in the transfer portal in college football 26 is huge. That's why I wanted to make this video. Literally sitting here, early access. What are videos people need to see about the improvements to college football 26? And I think this needed to have its own little TLC, own little video to show you guys, as someone that was very dissatisfied with the transfer portal in college football 25. It is so much better in 26. And like this jump, the stark contrast between the portal and 25, taking the feedback from the community, what they did and what we're getting in 26, like, the portal is just one of many things within Dynasty that got that same level of TLC. I love college football 26. That's all I can say. I hope you guys do too. If there's anything else you guys want to see in relation to college football 26, let me know in the comment section below. If it is your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. We're going into year 15 here on YouTube. And year 15, hey, why not this year for old C4, you know? Hopefully we can find a way to get the old rocket strapped on our back. The YouTube robots favored my channel a little bit, and we get a bunch more people to come hang out, support, and watch the channel, enjoy the stuff I make. I very much appreciate that. If it is your first time stopping by, all I ask for in return, the little like button, little subscribe button, help with those YouTube robots. But most importantly, thank you for supporting my content. Thank you for checking into this video. Thank you for hanging out. And until next time, it's your boy C4. Say peace out, love ya. Have a good one.